I'm calling from Mumbai Bank. Am I speaking to Mr. Aman?
Yes, speaking. बताइए कौन बोल रहा है?
अमन जी, मैं मुंबई बैंक से विवेक बोल रहा हूँ. मैं आपको आपके लिए प्री अप्रूव्ड पर्सनल लोन ऑफर के बारे में कॉल कर रहा हूँ. क्या आपके पास डिस्कस करने के लिए कुछ मिनट?
हाँ बताइए ना, कितने का लोन ऑफर है, क्या इंटरेस्ट रेट है?
अमन जी, आपके लिए 5 लाख का प्री अप्रूव्ड पर्सनल लोन ऑफर है. इंटरेस्ट रेट 18% होगा.
नहीं, 18% तो बहुत ज़्यादा है. मुझे दूसरी जगह से 12% का इंटरेस्ट रेट ऑफर हुआ है, तो आप कितना बेस्ट कर सकते हैं?
अमन जी, मैं समझ गया. मैं उस एग्जैक्ट रेट से मैच नहीं कर सकता, लेकिन मैं डेफिनेटली देख सकता हूँ कि मैं क्या बेस्ट कर सकता हूँ. मुझे एक मोमेंट दीजिए. ओके अमन जी, आपके प्रोफाइल को देखते हुए मैं इसे 16% तक कम कर सकता हूँ.
With speech analytics, we learned what a high quality conversation with a customer looks like. Now that we have those learnings, how do we build a very high quality, very human sounding like, very natural voice AI agent for the financial services domain, for telesales, customer support, collections? He said in the first conversation, you and your co-founder were talking about data security. Not a single other vendor talked to us about that, and we care about that because we are a fintech.
When we spoke to a lot of these banks and financial institutions, the feedback and the ROI was phenomenal. It is among the best I've heard. What helped us to get into these banks and financial institutions within just 1 year?
Hi, Aman. Hello, sir. Yes. मैं एक ऑर्डिनरी टी शर्ट ले आया था कि कुछ अगर वो बोलेंगे नहीं अच्छा लग रहा है ब्लैक तो चेंज कर लो. मैंने चेंज कर लिया. I'll get a GreyLabs AI content. Good to start.
Yeah, I'll just say welcome over and I'll start with the first question.
Welcome to the Day 1 series of podcasts. Here we chronicle the journeys of early stage founders that we partner with. Today I have with me Aman, the co-founder of GreyLabs. We've just led their Series A round and it's been a long period of courtship. So maybe this conversation is a lot about talking through that last 1 year of journey we have spent with GreyLabs. GreyLabs is building AI products for the communication stacks in BFSI. And we do think a very verticalized approach is the right way to build this. And today's conversation will unpack a lot of that today. Awesome. Welcome, Aman. So glad to have you. This is a podcast we've been wanting to do for a long time. So
Yes.
good. You
Thank
could
you
find
so
time
much.
to do this.
Yes.
Let me start right at the beginning, right? Like you guys had a very successful startup, Cogno, had a very good exit there. And then you've come back after a few years to build in the same space. What made you do it? What's the origin story? What keeps you guys going after a very successful stint in the past?
So when we moved out of Exotel, this was around October 2023, we were evaluating what to do in life, right? And of course, we were barely, at that time I was 28 years old, both of us, Harshita and I, and we were fairly young. We said there's a long professional life ahead. Let's do something worthwhile. We don't believe in FIRE, financial independent and retire early, all that concept is going on. So we are not big believers of that.
You believe in FI, financial independence?
Exactly.
Not.
Exactly. Believe in financial independence. You make enough wealth so that you don't have to, worry about money. But then retiring at the age of 28 doesn't make sense, right? So what then we said, let's evaluate some markets, some problem statements, and like we all know, grass is always greener on the other side. We had done B2B SaaS. We started evaluating B2C ideas. We evaluated something in solar, something as a fintech, something as an edtech, and a bunch of things. After spending time, we realized every business has its own ups and downs, pros and cons to deal with. I spoke with a few well-wishers, a few mentors, and ultimately realized that B2B SaaS for enterprises in India is our sweet zone. That's where our so-called founder market fit lies. We all talk about founder market fit, and we did that exercise of spending time in other industries for 2-3 months. And we figured out that our founder market fit lies here. So that's where we went into banking, financial services, software for banking, financial services industry. So I've seen not everybody is meant to build every business. Yesterday, I was talking to someone about this very interesting point. We all saw Urban Company went public in your portfolio, right? Which is phenomenal. So let's say I am taken back 11 years when UC started. And I'm told that after 11 years, this company will become extremely successful and it will go public. Why don't you build this business? And this idea does not exist anywhere. This is something unique insight I'm giving to you. I will still say that I will fail at building that business because that's not my founder market fit. I'm not someone who can build that kind of business. That's a UC's founders and their team who have that DNA and who have that fit in that market. So it's something very similar where we went in the financial services market, where we feel that we have an unfair advantage, we have a natural founder market fit, and we have a natural, inclination towards that market.
Very interesting. Let's unpack this, like
Sure.
this founder market fit. What in the BFSI software or now this AI stack that you feel you, Harshita, and that founding team bring very
Sure.
differently?
Yes. So, I will start about the personal aspects and then I will talk about the professional aspect. At a personal level, I'm living in Mumbai, right? It makes my life easy because market is BKC, Lower Parel, very close. There are a few fintechs in Pune and of course Bangalore, Delhi, there are markets, but we all know that a large chunk of India financial services market, they have headquarters in Mumbai. Regulators are based in Mumbai, SEBI, IRDA, SEBI, RBI, etc. They are all based in Mumbai. So that way, having the proximity to the market is very good for us because then I don't have to switch cities. I don't have to shift to Bangalore or any other city in order to build the venture. So that is point number one. And in fact, I think that was one important deciding factor for us. So it goes back to 2016 when I went for an internship in the US. I was interning at a very hotshot Silicon Valley startup in Palo Alto. This was after my third year of college. There's a summer gap of 3 months at that time. And that is when I realized I can't stay away from my family and parents for a long time. It's a personal choice, right? Some people are happy they're living in the Bay Area. They get H1B, they get, US residency, US citizenship ultimately. But I realized that my heart and soul lies in India. I want to stay with my parents. I do not want to live a life where I make enough money and not have the loved ones with me to celebrate that. It's a personal choice. So that's how when I moved back to my, after my internship, coming back to India and, spending my fourth year of college in Mumbai itself, I started thinking, what are the opportunities for me with this personal constraint taken care of? And that is where building a business for the financial services industry, which is in Mumbai, where I can settle, the city I like, the city I love, right? We cannot debate whether Bangalore, Delhi, Bombay, which is better. But again, it's a personal choice, right? So that's on the personal life aspect, where for me, it does not cause trouble to switch to a different city in order to build a business. Number one. Number two, at a professional level, I think like a B2C business, it requires marketing skills. It requires knowing how to run ads on social media platforms, LTV, CAC, a bunch of those things. We are not marketeers. By nature, our company people, we are not marketeers. We do better at relationship management, meeting customers in person, giving them that comfort, rather than running a LinkedIn ad or a Facebook ad or a Google ad. That's not, till date, if you ask me, do you know how to run a LinkedIn ad campaign? I don't know. And in our company, does anyone know? I probably think nobody knows. I don't know if new hire, somebody has done it as a hobby, but nobody is a specialist at that. So that is also a skill set where you figure out, what am I really good at? If I'm a tech person, meeting customers in person, that helps them get more comfort and they prefer to use our services compared to others where they know that the CEO, the founder himself is a computer science grad. So that those things compound. And you start enjoying, where you start feeling that the unfair advantage that I have, market also likes it. And then once market responds, you start enjoying and you start compounding in that domain, which is where professionally we have started building that unfair advantage. And there are a lot of derivatives of that where, the product you have to build for a large enterprise, it needs to have analytics. It needs to have very strong data security. It needs to have very strong, hierarchical layer, access control mechanisms, etc., etc. So our product team has that DNA. We've done it for donkey number of years, right? Since the start of the previous venture. So we now know those kind of skills, those kind of paradigms which we have learned, which will give comfort to an enterprise that this product is ready for me as a large organization. The delivery layer, the support layer, the customer success layer. So the 6 of us who are building the venture, we are very familiar with that, and we have built a professional advantage.
No, very fair. And actually, you said heart and soul is India. To me, on a lighter note, just the fact that all of you think in Hindi and so does our customer, that itself, I think, does half the job. Like, it's a trust and
Yes.
relationship business.
Yes.
So just being able to speak the language, both metaphorically and literally, I think makes a huge...
And that's what I said. Can we do the podcast in Hindi?
No, super. Let's get a little bit into the meat of the problem statement we're solving. AI seems like it will have some impact on financial services.
Right.
first principle, it feels it should have an outsized impact.
Yes.
How do you think of this more conceptually? Like, what does AI do and what financial services does? How do these two marry at a conceptual level when you think 4 or 5 years out? How is AI being used in banks, other financial institutions?
Sure. I think the technology can be used at a lot of places in a large financial institution. Big banks, they have call centers from where they do a lot of calling, basic calling for telesales, lead qualification, pitching a product. All of that can be automated with the help of AI-based voice AI agents. Then there is customer support calling, standard queries. Even today, you would be surprised, so many banks, they get calls for account balance query because customers are not very tech savvy. They can't use net banking, mobile banking, or they are afraid of digital frauds, and that's why they prefer such kind of channels where they call up a call center or they visit a branch. EMI collections calling. You would be surprised, a bank I was talking to, they have more than 100 people call center who do calling for transaction monitoring. So if you do a high value transaction, somebody calls you, some human calls you to verify the transaction. So a lot of scope of automation there. I know some startups who are building in fraud analytics domain. So transactions which have to be classified as fraud or accounts which are to be classified as mule accounts because of some suspicion in the process. The other day I was visiting the office of one of our customers. They are a large bank, and roughly, I saw 200 people on the floor who were doing data entry for the account opening form that is collected in the branch. So it was those weird forms where there are boxes and you have to fill your name and date of birth and address and all those things, right? 5-6 pages long form. That form is physically filled and signed by us. In the branch, they then scan it and submit it to the backend team. And then I could see 200 people almost, they were doing data entry of that entire form into the system for the purpose of account opening. In fact, I opened an account with a bank long back pre-COVID. And this data entry person, somebody made an error, and till date, my email ID in that bank account is wrong. And they missed out typing one alphabet. Till date, my email ID is wrong, one alphabet missing, and I don't get credit card statements on email. I get them on SMS, right? So these are some areas where we see immediate impact. Over a longer period of time, definitely we see that large part of human capital, human resources, they will be repurposed to higher productivity work rather than doing this routine work of transaction monitoring calling or basic calling or what I mentioned, fraud analytics, fraud monitoring, etc. So that will have a large impact on the bottom line of the bank. The costs of AI will go down. We know it's pretty expensive at the moment, but as we are seeing, large companies are investing in reducing the cost, building the technology at scale. So the cost will go down, and that will have a massive impact on the bottom line of financial institutions. I just talked about banks, right? And insurance companies, for example, claims automation, I know many startups are implementing such solution. When you file a claim, I myself just filed a claim for my father's medical treatment. You have to submit a bunch of documents. Again, some software can read through these documents and identify whether the claim is valid or not, or it can be straight through process approved, or it can be flagged for a review of a doctor. That will save a lot of time. In insurance, I know there is a lot of calling that happens for pre-issuance verification. So you buy a policy, some call comes to you to verify whether you have been missold a policy or not. Right? They will call you to check whether you are told that you will pay a premium every year. Because a large part of mis-selling happens where somebody tells you pay the premium once and you are covered for 40 years, which is wrong. So all these areas will be disrupted with the help of technology. And I think a lot of financial institutions, they will have a large impact on their bottom line. The cost structure will become very lean. The cost structure will go down.
No, 100%. And how do you respond to someone saying financial services is a trust industry, trust business? Like that's all matters. Like everything else is a derivative of that.
Yes.
And will trust ever get built with AI? Or do you always need humans to build trust?
No, I think that's a fantastic question. See, when you deposit money in a bank, that is when you need more trust. When you are borrowing money, you actually don't care who is giving you money. You will just take the money from whoever offers you the best interest rate. I'm sure you agree. Banks actually make money on the lending side. When they loan money to people. So I think there the trust factor is not that required compared to collecting money on the deposit side. In fact, all the use cases that I told you are more on the liability side in banking. Sorry, asset side in banking. The asset is actually the loan that they issue, right? So I think there the trust factor is still required, but it is not that aggressively required where compared to when you are asking someone to deposit the money in the bank. So that is point number one. Point number two, we are seeing technology coming increasingly closer to human beings. So I think that gap where as a consumer, I feel that I am talking to or I am interacting with a technology, that will also gradually start to go down. We are definitely seeing early signals of that. Like we are building voice AI agent. The text to speech is now sounding extremely real. I'll give you a very lame example. For Raksha Bandhan, I went to my sister's house in the month of August. And her husband, he's a typical non-tech savvy entrepreneur. He asked me, ki, what are you doing? Exactly kar kya rahe ho? What are you building? So out of nowhere, I pulled out my phone. I called up one of my voice AI agent mobile number. And I handed over the phone to him. My sister and him are looking at me like, why are you giving me a phone call and all this? And the voice bot is asking me, are you looking for insurance? And I will help you find the best plan. He started talking to it and he's giving me expression and at the same time he's talking to it. And, after he cut the call, I said, are you interested in insurance and all? He said, but why are you giving me call of an insurance agent? I said, this was AI. He was extremely shocked. So you and I are tech savvy. People like us, we are tech savvy. We are building these things. We understand this. But a common Indian, a common citizen of our country, they are not able to differentiate between a technology versus a real human being. I think it will get there. We are doing voice cloning, which can replicate your voice. With 15 seconds of sample of your sound, we can create a voice AI agent which will sound like us. So increasingly, tech gap is also going away.
Interesting. Yes. Maybe our audience can tell me if I'm a real person or a clone.
I think you would be surprised. In Instagram, there are a few channels. I watch a couple of channels. So there is a channel called Varun Maya. So there are these channels where the person talking has completely shifted to AI. You can't differentiate that this is a AI generated video of the Instagram influencer talking rather than a actual human talking. I was surprised. I could not differentiate.
No, I agree. Plus, I also feel we also tend to underestimate, how much technology adoption happens when you take a slightly longer time frame. Always in 6 months, it looks maybe underwhelming, but when you take a 3, 4, 5 year time frame, like there was a point of time where people said payments will never happen online. You said in a country like India, will people pay using mobile? But today you see, I think we're the largest digital payments market in the world.
I don't carry wallets.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we definitely underestimate. Plus, I think the interesting thing that's happened is at least consumer adoption of AI, like ChatGPT's largest mobile market is India.
Yes.
So it is crazy. Like people are getting used to AI actually more from a consumer lens, starting to build some sort of a trust or putting it somewhere in their heads.
Right.
And then as enterprises start getting to them with AI, I suspect there will be an easier adoption curve.
100%. In fact, I'll tell you one funny use case of ChatGPT. So sometime in February, my car was 1 year old. So I sent it for servicing. The guy sent a quotation of some 58,000 rupees for the car service with 100 different line items. And needless to say, I don't understand any of it. I put up his quotation on ChatGPT and I said, my car is relatively new. I feel this is an unfair quotation. Can you draft an email for negotiation? Because I don't know what to negotiate. It generated an email. I copy pasted to the company saying, here is the mail. As it is, I copy pasted, not a single word here and there. They reduced the cost to 50%. 27,000 or something is what we finally closed at in one shot. I'm sure they would have deleted 1 or 2 minor items here and there, but it's been 6-7 months. My car is good.
You narrowed down on BFSI. You narrowed down with this tailwind of AI and this belief system to say AI should change how BFSI operates, at least in certain pockets.
Right.
Then how did you narrow down to this product, which was our first product, this analytics, speech analytics product?
So it's very interesting, actually. We did not want to build this product. We did not know that we will end up building this product. So after we decided, this was sometime in January last year, where we said, let's build in the financial services space, build software for BFSI. We spoke with some of the prospective customers, and we did more than 20-25 odd meetings in a span of almost 2 to 3 months. Some of the people, some of the senior leaders, they wanted to build something. They wanted us to build something to improve the efficiency of field agents. So we said, fine, market wants it, let's try it out. So there were 6 of us, right? We spoke with a bank, and they connected us with their field team in the branch. And 6 of us shadowed one branch relationship manager for entire day. So which means 6 of us and 6 relationship managers for entire day. We literally went to their customers' houses. The RM who I was tagging along with, he went to our city mall in Mumbai and, getting accounts opened for some person working in KFC, doing a KYC on the spot. So that was pretty interesting. We learned a lot of problem statements there. So when they have to schedule a meeting, they are not able to plan the route properly, which means I will go to one place, set up a meeting, then I will have another meeting at another place, and then third meeting is again back to same place, which leads to a time wasted in commute. I could have planned 2 meetings together in one place. When they are meeting a customer, they are not able to properly pitch a free plan versus a paid plan. So let's say you open a zero balance account, but if I convince you to upload 5,000 rupees, right, recharge the account with 5,000 rupees, then I can get more incentives, but I am not able to convince why you should do that. So we saw many such small problem statements. So what we did was we created a prototype with all these features, solutions to these problems. So one is if I'm visiting a place, then it will show me all my clients on a map, which are nearby. So I can plan my route. Or we also built a small feature where if I'm visiting your house for pitching insurance or a zero balance account, I will turn on my phone and start a voice recording, and the conversation will be recorded. And after the end of meeting, I will shut down the conversation. I will turn it off, and then it will show me the feedback, how I performed in the conversation, how could I have done better next time. So all these 5-6 features, we created a prototype. Some of it was hard-coded, some of it was actually some APIs tied up together. We showed it to our prospective customers and said, is this interesting for you? Does it solve your problem? So people were a little confused. I already have a mobile app for my field agent. Will your app integrate with mine, or can you integrate my app with yours? So we thought that will be a large IT services project, because their app has a lot of journeys and flows, personal loan journey, account opening journey. Tying that into our app will become a custom project. So we said, what else? So they said, this conversation recording feature is very interesting. Can you put it in our call center? So we went back. At that time, we were operating from my home. We went back. I have a whiteboard there, and we created a list of features and who all are asking for it. The longest list was of this feature. Can you put it in my call center? That's about it. We said, fine, the market wants it. Let's build it. We did a pilot and we onboarded a few customers. We onboarded one of the large banks. We onboarded a fintech. We onboarded one of the NBFCs, did some pilots with them, and that worked out well. So the use case was simple. For every telecaller, they have an auditing process where the auditing is done via manual auditors. They will take a sample of 1 or 2% of the calls. So if I'm a telecaller doing 1,000 calls in a month, 5 to 10 calls they will pick up and audit it for quality purposes and compliance purposes. So compliance is things like, am I asking you personal phone number? Am I asking the personal phone number of the customer, or CVV, OTP, which I'm not supposed to ask? Or, and the quality parameters are things like, if you are an upset customer, am I empathizing with you? Am I apologizing? Am I being polite? So those parameters which are there in the call recording, today they are manually checked. Manual checking process is complicated. You have to hire a bunch of auditors. You have to hire auditors in each language. Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Gujarati, Marathi, etc. All those languages, right? Then you have to hire auditors for different functions. I am an auditor for customer support call recording. Someone else is an auditor for collections, where they audit for abusive keywords, right? Those or RBI threats, regulatory threats. So entire process can be automated using our software today, GreyLabs AI. That's how we started building the first cut of speech analytics for call auditing. And today the product has evolved much more, where we can also give you customer insights. So on the conversation, agent is talking, customer is also talking. So agent insight is audit quality, but the customer insights about who will buy, who should I follow up, who should I drop, who is an irate customer who will churn out. which customer will default on my loan. So basis the interaction, we can tell you all those things. We can give you aggregate insights. So you are a business head sitting in the head office in BKC or Lower Parel or Navi Mumbai. You don't have to struggle for data. Our software will listen to all these call recordings and give you a dashboard which tells you which of your customers, they like your product, so let's say you do a sales campaign, 90% people will not buy, 10% will buy. So from that 90%, we'll tell you why are they not buying, which ones were lost because agent did not pitch properly, which ones were lost because customer was not interested. If customer was not interested, then what was the reason they mentioned? Did they mention about any competitor offering a better pricing, better feature, better products, etc.? So all these things we'll provide you in a simplified dashboard as a speech analytics offering, so you don't have to struggle for data. And now with that, we raised Series A from Elevation. So now we are building voice AI agents. So with speech analytics, we learned what a high quality conversation with a customer looks like. Now using that learning to replicate that and saying now that we have those learnings, how do we build a very high quality, very human sounding like, very natural voice AI agent for the financial services domain, for telesales, customer support, collections, transaction monitoring, welcome calling, and a bunch of use cases. So that's where we are. That's how the journey has been.
Aman, make it real, man. Like, I think we've been speaking a lot about voice AI agents. Can you show us something?
Why not? Let me show it to you. So, I'll make a phone call to one of our voice AI agents, which is designed to help customers get a loan. So I'm a customer. Let me talk.
Hello, I am Vivek. I am calling from Mumbai Bank. Am I speaking to Mr. Aman?
Yes, speaking. बताइए कौन बोल रहा है?
अमन जी, मैं मुंबई बैंक से विवेक बोल रहा हूँ. मैं आपको आपके लिए प्री अप्रूव्ड पर्सनल लोन ऑफर के बारे में कॉल कर रहा हूँ. क्या आपके पास डिस्कस करने के लिए कुछ मिनट्स हैं?
हाँ, बताइए ना, कितने का लोन ऑफर है, क्या इंटरेस्ट रेट है?
अमन जी, आपके लिए 5 लाख का प्री अप्रूव्ड पर्सनल लोन ऑफर है. इंटरेस्ट रेट 18% होगा. कैसा लग रहा है?
नहीं, 18% तो बहुत ज्यादा है. मुझे दूसरी जगह से 12% का इंटरेस्ट रेट ऑफर हुआ है, तो आप कितना बेस्ट कर सकते हैं?
अमन जी, मैं समझ गया. मैं उस एग्जैक्ट रेट से मैच नहीं कर सकता, लेकिन मैं डेफिनेटली देख सकता हूँ कि मैं क्या बेस्ट कर सकता हूँ. मुझे एक मोमेंट दीजिए. ओके अमन जी, आपके प्रोफाइल को देखते हुए मैं इसे 16% तक कम कर सकता हूँ. सबसे अच्छा है जो मैं ऑफर कर सकता हूँ.
ये बताइए टेन्योर क्या रहेगा इसका लोन का, कितने टेन्योर के लिए आप लोन दे रहे हैं?
अमन जी, लोन टेन्योर 12 मंथ से 60 मंथ तक हो सकता है. आप अपनी कन्वीनियंस के हिसाब से चूज कर सकते हैं. आप कौन सा टेन्योर कंसीडर कर रहे हैं?
4 साल चलेगा मुझे.
हाँ अमन जी, 4 इयर्स बिल्कुल चलेगा. तो अगर हम 4 इयर्स के लिए 16% पे प्रोसीड करते हैं, तो क्या ये आपके लिए वर्क करेगा?
हाँ, वर्क करेगा ना.
ग्रेट अमन जी. तो क्विकली समराइज करने के लिए, आपके पास 5 लाख का प्री अप्रूव्ड पर्सनल लोन है, जिसका इंटरेस्ट रेट 16% है. टेन्योर 4 इयर्स का है. कोई प्रोसेसिंग फीस नहीं है और अर्ली फोरक्लोजर चार्जेस भी नहीं है. क्या हम डॉक्यूमेंटेशन के साथ प्रोसीड करें?
Sure. So I'll just cut the call. But you got a sense, right? It was able to negotiate the interest rate from 18 to 16, which is permissible in my account. I can ask it for tenure. I can ask it for loan amount. I can negotiate on tenure, loan amount, etc., which is as per the organizational permissible limits. And it can disburse the loan. It can completely it can do the process end to end. It will send me an OTP, etc., and it can close it out. Or it can send me a link via which I can see the summary and close it out. So this is insurance. This can be done for, this is lending. This can be done for insurance, stockbroking. So in stockbroking, we are implementing lead qualification use case with a company. They get a lot of leads for customers who are under 18. So can't open a Demat account for them as per SEBI regulations. So the bot will do that initial qualification, and then basis that, it will pass on the qualified leads to the relationship manager who can talk to the customer and close.
No, very interesting. And today, as you think about voice AI, there are a number of offerings by different players, from the model providers to big tech to a lot of startups, old school companies offering this. And now you've been exploring this market for a while. You've been deep in this market. What do you feel is the key differentiator? What does it take to win this market?
I think, there are a lot of tech providers in the market who will provide the API, the technology, the raw solution. Unfortunately, the financial services market does not have the bandwidth to stitch that technology into an end solution. We have seen that the customers want service providers who offer end-to-end solution. When I say solution, it means configuring the use case of the customer, of the enterprise into the technology layer, number one. Number two, making sure that there is extremely high data security, because when a voice AI agent is talking to a customer service voice AI agent, it can authenticate a customer, from PAN number, date of birth, Aadhaar, a bunch of things. So making sure that data security is maintained, the regulations are maintained, because the data of Indian customer cannot go outside Indian boundaries as per regulations of SEBI, IRDA, RBI, etc. Number three, making sure that the software understands the context of the domain. So a word Civil should not be confused with civil, CIVIL. So that is what we have done. The language model, the speech to text, the text to speech, everything is extremely well tailored for the financial services domain. And that is why we are able to offer much higher accuracy compared to larger players or any other company. Because they just think about it, any company building a very horizontal solution, something for Indigo Airlines or Indian Railways or some, Apple or some other company which is in consumer tech, versus something for a bank, something for a financial institution. In a financial institution, you can negotiate interest rates on the call. In Apple call center, you're not calling to negotiate the rates of a MacBook Pro, right? Or a MacBook Air. So that's the difference of domain-specific training. That is our differentiation on the product and technology layer. Apart from that, the delivery and support layer also we are extremely strong at, where we make sure that the solution is end-to-end delivered by our project management team, our delivery team. They tie up our platform with the internal systems of the bank or a financial institution. Could be CRM, could be ticketing tool, could be collections management tool, could be any lead source or an Excel sheet. So offering that. And second, the analytics layer, the dashboard layer, which is offered by our customer success team. So we make sure that anything that the sales team has promised as an ROI to you in the sales process is delivered to you via the customer success team. So this I learned from Jyoti Bansal, the founder of App Dynamics. I had seen one of his podcasts where he talks about this. He sold his company to Cisco for $3.8 billion. I'm very inspired by his journey. B2B SaaS is my idol there. So they have a team whose job is to show the value back to the customer which sales has pitched. And that is what we have set up inside GreyLabs also. So that entire value chain from product layer, from the technology layer, which is better accuracy, to the product layer, where product should offer all these features, to the human layer, to the customer facing layer. That is where we have nailed down every single step in order to tailor it for the financial services industry. So that's the differentiator we are trying to build.
No, super. I fully agree with that. At least our belief system is 100% voice for BFSI will be built by a verticalized player, yes, which is where our belief system also came in, yes, investing into GreyLabs. And two things struck me when we were spending time with you before this round. One was the speed at which you had acquired some of these marquee logos. Like most companies we meet in their first 12 months of journeys, they have a few logos, yes, who have started using them, POCs, etc. But you guys had done a fantastic job of acquiring a bunch of logos within that 1 year. And actually, more importantly, when we spoke to a lot of these banks and financial institutions, the feedback and the ROI was phenomenal. It is among the best I've heard for a lot of companies I've met building software for banks. So talk to me a little bit about this. What helped us to get into these banks and financial institutions within just 1 year? And two, what of it that we do that really delivers this delight?
Right. So see, I think there are a bunch of factors coming together to make this happen. But a couple of things which we really try to differentiate. Number one, founder-led sales. So I personally get involved in every single conversation with a customer. It gives them a lot of comfort, right? I've seen founders, pure technical founders, they generally shy off from customer meetings, from sales, from negotiations, and so on and so forth. I'm also a techie, right? I'm also a computer science grad. But then I figured out that if there is a saying, Vrindavan mein reh raha hai to Radhe Radhe kehna hai. If we have to operate in this market where we are selling to large enterprises, as a founder, even if I am technical, doesn't matter, I have to give that comfort. I've had customers who have asked me my JEE rank in the meeting, JEE advanced rank, who have asked me my college, who have asked me my CGPA. So anything that takes to give the customer that right comfort, we do it. That is, point number one. Point number two is that we truly believe that we are not wanting to we are not in the business of selling just the infra layer. We are in the solution layer. So very simple example, if I sell you petrol, I don't care what you do with it. You build a fireworks out of it, you drive a car, you drive an aeroplane, you drive an expensive car, doesn't matter because I am selling infrastructure. But we are not selling petrol. We are selling an end solution. For us, it matters that if you are spending 100 rupees with me, are you getting 1000 rupees worth of return or not? So that's why we really go deep into the ROI of the offering. So if we are selling you customer insight solution, which will help you generate insight, then it's not a fancy analytics dashboard that we are selling. My team gets into the fact that are you consuming that insights? Are you ultimately using those insights to improve your conversion rate? Are you calling the customers where agents screwed up, but the customer had the intent to purchase? Are you making someone else call those customers and close? Because then those closures can be attributed to us and it becomes very easy for us to justify the return on investment. So customers, as you said, customers saw the ROI and the delight because that's our focus. Our role does not stop when the contract is signed. Our role stops when you say that, Aman, I spent 100 rupees with you and my organization is getting 1000 rupees of benefit. That is when our roles actually concludes. In fact, just to tell you, with one of the banks we work with, they use the data of this. They have implemented our solution for analytics of customer service calls. Why are my customers calling? Why are my customers doing repeat calls? Why are my customers unhappy, etc. So in their board meeting, 2 slides go from us as the voice of the customer. So 2 slides on, because there are thousands and thousands of calls happening in their call center every day. They want to know exactly why is my customer calling, what is the problem. So we create, using our software, we create presentation for them every single month to give it to them that this is the agony of your customer, this is the problem. And they are tracking some of those metrics on repeat call rate, negative sentiment and those things and making sure that it is consistently going down rather than being flat or going up as the bank scales. So we are actually doing that, taking that effort and initiative and putting it as a responsibility on ourselves. And that is why you are seeing the customer delight. It's a North Star metric I am also chasing. As the CEO of the company, as the founder of the company, I care about that metric.
No, 100%. And see, we have known each other for almost at least a year before this investment.
Yes.
And in the journey of spending time with companies and teams, there are a bunch of these aha moments which make you feel this is a company and a founder I want to work with. For me, it is, in that journey, we've made an introduction to a few customers along the way. Step 0, every time an introduction was made, I would see a response from you or the team literally in 5-10 minutes, which is absolute delight.
Yes.
2, I would see follow-ups.
Right.
3, within a week, I would hear back from you or someone in the team to say, the first conversation happened. This is our read of what they need. This is extra information which will help us cater the product better to them. And then within a month, you would come back with an update.
Yes.
And then maybe a few months or quarters later, you would come back to say, this is implemented. This is where things fell short. This is what we're doing differently. Like both that speed and that customer obsession has just been absolutely phenomenal for me to see.
In fact, I have an anecdote to share on that. So last year, what happened was one of the banks we were trying to convince and their business heads, I literally challenged him, sir, I will offer you personal 24/7 support. Anytime you want, you call me. If no one picks up the call, Aman Goel will pick up the call. So he sent an email at 2:45 a.m. in the night. I don't know what he was doing at that time, but maybe he was trying to test us out.
Or maybe it is just scheduled to test you.
Possible. Shivam had woken up to go to the restroom in the night at 3 o'clock. He acknowledged that email and said, tomorrow morning I will take this up. 7 o'clock in the morning, he sends another email. 7:15, I was awake. I replied to that email. He calls me to the meeting and says, what are you guys doing? I said, sir, I promise you 24/7 support. See, I am delivering my promise. It doesn't matter, what time you send the email, somebody will be available. Of course, it was a little exaggeration, right? Because email goes to the next level. We are not literally awake to look at emails. Of course, we'll pick up the call. If you call us at 3 o'clock in the night, I will make sure if no one picks up the call, I'm there. But then this was a funny thing that happened the customer is a customer since the beginning of the company now because they saw. To that, when we responded to the emails where you made introductions, etc., it's all about understanding the perspective of the other person. We do this to all of our angel investors and mentors who make introductions. If I am introducing a fellow founder in my portfolio to someone, I want them to follow up. I would love to get an update in a few months that the customer is closed. That makes me excited to give more introductions. It helps me build confidence, right? We go to that level where if I want an introduction from you to someone, some customer, I will create a personalized write-up on your behalf so that you don't even have to spend time in writing that write-up. Right? So that saves your time because you are busy running your own business. If you are an angel investor and you are an entrepreneur, we have Anil from Scapia. I seek his help for some introductions. He's ex-Flipkart, and there are a bunch of fintechs who have Flipkart alums as their founders. So we create a write-up for Anil and say you just copy paste it to the concerned person, because I know Anil, if I put a dependency on Anil for drafting a write-up, he has other things to do. So it's all about understanding the perspective and making sure you deliver it for the customer, for the investors, for the angels, for the team members. I think that's what I spend a lot of time on.
No, it's been absolute delight to see some of that.
I have a question for you, Vas. There are not even a dozen. There are dozens of startups in this space. Every nook and corner, there is a AI company trying to build something for some market, some BFSI. What made you invest in GreyLabs AI? What was so exciting about it?
Yeah, 2-3 things, I think. One, more at a conceptual or thesis level, we spoke about this a little bit in the past.
Yes.
There's been 2-3 belief systems. One, that AI is going to be very transformative for financial services. As you look at the internal workings of a bank or financial institutions, there are so many processes which are going to get augmented or replaced through AI. So that has been very clear to us from the vantage point of looking at how financial institutions operate.
Right.
Second, it is also very clear to us that there has to be a verticalized solution built for financial services,
Right.
Especially as you think about voice. And this operates at multiple levels, right? This operates at a level of a product where, of course, there is elements of fine-tuning different elements of the model for financial services. There is very importantly aspects of data security, compliance, certifications, which are all supremely important. And there is also, very importantly, the aspect of delivery.
Right.
We have met so many companies which have done these POCs. There's a 1-month POC running somewhere, 2-month POCs. But to really be able to convert that into being in the production environment long term and delivering ROI, that I think is very, very important. So there is again a very clear belief system to say this has to get built verticalized.
Right.
And at least there the wavelengths match. The fact that you guys were very deeply thinking through financial services and going super deep into that vertical from product, GTM, delivery, support, all of that was clearly compounding.
Right.
And finally, what tipped the needle was voice of the customer. We spoke to, I would say, easily a dozen plus of your customers. And the delight in each conversation was very evident.
Nice.
And it was, of course, at a level of saying the product worked, it has moved this needle for me. But it is also the fact that this team is just there listening to us. They've been very quick to implement a change. They've been very quick to answer a query when it was raised. They have been actually obsessed in thinking with us to say what is the next level of this product, which was again absolute delight. So you alluded a little bit to that founder market fit in the beginning.
Yes.
I think that came out very evidently in our customer conversation because, again, very rarely do I hear such delight for enterprise products.
Nice.
Sometimes in consumer products, you still hear it.
Of course.
But enterprise, it's very rare, and that came out very clearly. So that was it. And you allowed us a chance to invest in you, and that worked out quite well.
It was an honor to get Elevation and you as our partner in the deal and Elevation as a fund. We have heard very good things from when we were raising the seed round, multiple of my friends told me, do you want introduction to Elevation as well? Would you like to talk to them? They are very nice fund. So I've been hearing consistently good things about the fund forever.
I wish you had taken that introduction, but separately,
sooner or later, yes.
Talk to me a little bit about this fundraise journey, especially this round that you've just closed with us. What made you choose Elevation, and maybe that's a little bit of specific story, but then also layer it on with advice to other founders on how to think about fundraising, how to think about the right VC to partner with.
So I think, I'm a believer of love marriage rather than arranged marriage. So we also, GreyLabs and Elevation fell in love with each other rather than
During a long courtship period.
exactly. So if you remember, since last year when we have been chatting, the conversations have been really good. I remember you, Mridul, Siddhant, others came to our office, spent time. Where we were really sold is when you had created that document about how this can, how the product and the business can shape up, right? If you remember, you had created a PDF file, sent it to us, and created a long note, because that really resonated with what we were also thinking. So that was the aha moment for us, where we said, "Ki they understand us, they get us, they've really spent time. They are not just putting in capital; they've understood the business. At least they've understood our vision. The business will evolve with time, the product will evolve, but they've understood what we are trying to do." That was point number one. So I still remember. So the whole thing started in March this year when we met. When I was traveling for our monthly sync up with our existing investors. I remember you wanted a meeting at 12 o'clock, and I sent you a long voice note saying why 12 o'clock is not the right time, because otherwise I will have to wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning to take the early morning flight for Bangalore, and at 12 o'clock doesn't work. I was too stupid at that time to be denying, but we met at 1:30 p.m. I remember, and you made an offer that we would like to invest. I did not know how to respond and react, because we were having good conversations, but we were not actively looking to raise funds. And I was not expecting an offer in that meeting at all. So what happened was, after that meeting, I listened to your offer. I did not react. If you remember, I did not say a yes, I did not say a no. I said, let me think about it, because it's out of syllabus. So I went back and I spoke with all the internal team members. Ki, should we consider? Because they seem to be really good. They seem to understand our business. Very nice and genuine people. And now they have offered us capital. Plus, it's a top tier fund. All said and done, everyone wants to raise capital from a top tier fund. So there were internal debates, discussions, etc., etc. So what I did was, I spent 4 or 5 days of time to create a long internal document. Not full 4 or 5 days, but across 4 or 5 days, I created this document, spending half an hour, 1 hour of time every day on what can capital unlock for us as a business. The kind of talent we can hire, the kind of people in the team who we can build, the kind of markets we can expand to. So first of all, I did internal selling on why capital makes sense, right? That was the starting point on why capital makes sense, because ultimately it leads to dilution. Ultimately, it leads to an external party coming on the cap table. So there are trade-offs. So now what are the other benefits of it? That's what I created in the form of a document. The 6 of us had internal discussions, and everybody was convinced that yes, it makes sense to raise capital, and especially when it is coming your ways, right? And then came why elevation. So honestly, you had done a smart job of introducing us to some prospective customers. So once it was decided we have to raise capital, everybody was very clear that the vibe the fund is giving is very good. In terms of, let's offer support to the startup, let's give them introductions. You really understood the fact that the biggest contribution you can do at that stage, when we were at the phase of fundraising where we were, is to make introductions. Because see, ultimately you can't build my product. You can't write code for us. The biggest service is we'll help you unlock opportunities, open doors for you, which is what was done by the fund and by you. So that was really helpful, and it was very crystal clear at that. We in fact did not talk to anyone else. Many funds, news goes out in the market, and GreyLabs is talking to Elevation. Some people reached out. Every single fund I spoke with, I politely refused, saying we are not raising funding. Looks like you have got a wrong news. Simple, very politely and respectfully. Or we will raise it after 3 months. Let's talk after that. Very busy with the customers. Because we were mentally very clear, right? It's, as I said, it's a love marriage. We liked the fund liked us, so then why look at others? And then we went through that negotiation when I was in Georgia for a vacation. I'm sure you don't want to recall those days when we were fighting and all, in terms of negotiation on both the sides. But yes, I think that the term sheet happened in, I think sometime March, and we signed the term sheet.
Makes sense. And actually, I've seen the best founders I work with index a lot on making sure the shared vision is fully aligned.
Yes.
And through what you said, I picked up that was equally important for you. Talk to me a little bit more on learnings on why you think that is important? What signals did you pick up to say, at least the fund that you were thinking more long-term in the same way? Of course, short-term strategies and tactics can change.
See, vision alignment is extremely important for me as an individual. I'm at a stage of life where, financially, God has been kind with the previous startup exit, etc. The last thing you want is working with people who are misaligned. Especially with an institutional investor, it's not like if we don't like each other after 6 months, you take back your capital and give me back my equity and we are again parting ways. It's not so straightforward. It's a 10-year long journey. It's practically an irreversible transaction. And you want to make sure that every month when you are doing board meetings, or if Vas is calling me on a Friday night, you are excited to pick up the call and you are excited to show up for that meeting rather than thinking ki yaar ye kiska call aa gaya, what's the whole point and all that. So that way, I wanted to make sure that the investor and the individual from which we are raising capital, they are definitely aligned with our vision. They understand that, the nuances of this market, that this is not a market where I put in capital in Google ads and Facebook ads and tomorrow I'm getting an ARR. It's a longer sales cycle. It takes relationship management. There are not, unlike Western markets where there are thousands of banks, Indian market does not have even, hundreds of banks. So we got that comfort that elevation was understanding the market, elevation was understanding the vision. How did we get that comfort? As I said, the PDF document that you shared, I think that was the biggest starting point, where essentially after our 3-hour long discussion where you had visited our office, you had sent that document. So in that discussion, whatever nuances we had thought of on how future of contact centers will look like, how future of customer communication will look like, you had crystallized it very well. So that's when we also knew that you were attentive in those conversations, you understood the business, you understood our vision, and were able to condense it into a document. And ultimately, Vas, I'll tell you, we benefited from that document. From that discussion, because we were also building the vision. We were also executing very inward out, saying कि speech analytics बनाते हैं, let's start with that, and then आगे का देखेंगे, voice AI agents का, etc., etc. You had condensed it very well into a very outward vision, which was useful for us. You had condensed those thoughts into one document. So I think that is when we really understood that he's the right partner to bring in.
That's super. Let's talk a little bit about the team now. And having now been in the office, spent time with a lot of other team members, I will attest that we have a very unique DNA and vibe, if I may.
Right.
So let's unpack this at a few levels. Let's start with the co-founder choice. Harshita is someone you probably see 24/7. She is your life partner. She's your business partner.
Right.
She's someone you have known and spent a lot of your life with. Talk to me a little bit about those dynamics. How does it work? I'm sure it's evolved over time. You guys have found your ways of working. And there's a bunch of other, partner, spouse pairs in our portfolio as well. I find that dynamic always very interesting.
Nice. Sure. So, see, I think we have been running the previous business also together. So, over a period of time, we have built our standard operating procedures to avoid unnecessary conflicts, because the biggest problem that happens is conflict of personal life spilling over into professional life and vice versa. In professional life, what happens is that we have built our standard procedures where my role is very clearly defined and my responsibilities are demarcated from her. And anything which is a part of her portfolio, I can give my opinion, I can share suggestions, etc. But ultimately, it's her decision. Whether it's right or wrong, we are in this shit together. If it works out well, we are in this celebration together. Same for the other side, anything on the business side of thing, anything to do with sales, delivery, customer success, finance, those are my areas. So I am the seller, she is the builder. We've very clearly segregated those things out. So that helps us avoid conflicts. At the same time, we are very contrasting personalities is what we have realized. So there's a joke between the two of us ki if both the founders in Cogno, right, previous company, were like me, if both were like her, the company would have never started. If both were like me, the company would have been gambled. Because I am a very aggressive risk taker. I enjoy taking big bets, and she's a little on the conservative side. I am an extrovert. She's very introverted. Today morning we were joking. So she has a yoga trainer and I have a fitness trainer separate, an exercise trainer come to our houses. So she was telling me how, So she is physically very fit. And she is mentally not that best when it comes to dealing with stress, etc. I am the opposite. Mentally, I have like infinite strength, and physically, you put some sweet dish in front of me, I will lose all my controls and barriers, and I will eat it, right? So my fitness trainer is praising me, saying, "Ki sir, you are mentally very strong, and over a period of time, your body is developing flexibility and strength, etc." She's telling me the other thing. She's saying, "I am already very flexible." She does yoga better than a yoga teacher. Sometimes yoga teacher is surprised, "How can you do this? Even I can't do it." And our yoga teacher is telling your mental strength is increasing. You are now becoming a calmer person and all that, right? If you remember, she also spoke with you, was how are you so happy and calm all the time? So that's her problem statement in life, how to be a little more calm, a little less stressed, etc., etc. And for me, the problem statement is how to not eat sugar, how to not eat maida, fat food, etc. So we are very contrasting personalities at an individual level. Coming together and working as a team, we figured out the best ways to segregate the responsibilities. So in fact, she's very detail oriented. And that's why product management role works very well for her. I am very extroverted. That's why any business side roles, that works better for me. So we have found our sweet areas, our zone of excellence within the company itself. I know I will screw up if I do product development. And I know she will not be able to do selling. We all can learn. But then the unfair advantage will go away at an individual level. So that's how we have segregated our roles and responsibilities. Lastly, after 9 p.m. every night, both of us go for a walk for about 1 hour. It's a daily ritual for us. And we discuss what went right, what went wrong, and how can we improve as individuals, as an institution, etc. So from that, some of these learnings come out. We reflect on the day and say, what did we both do well individually and collaborating with each other? Where were the conflicts? How can we avoid that in the future? So we consciously invest that time to make it work.
No, I think the operative word is making it work. Because I do think it requires effort to make any relationship work, and all the more so for a co-founder relationship to work.
100%, because it's a long relationship. Like for us, it's a forever relationship.
100%. And let's come to the team a little bit. What is your general philosophy on culture? It's also one of these abused terms which has so many layers of meaning. How do you think about company culture? What is it that you absolutely care about and try and make sure that the company and everybody coming in imbibes it? And I'm sure you're thinking about it a lot as we're now expanding the team.
Yes, 100%.
So maybe talk a little bit about that.
So, see, I think I interview every single person who joins our team at whatever hierarchy level they are. Doesn't matter, even if they are an intern or even if they are a director or any other person, right? For me, one thing which is extremely important is, can I work with this person for 8 hours a day? Some people are generally painful to work with. And pain could be in any format. I've worked with all sort of people in the previous company and in general, right? In personal life, some people don't respond to emails for 2 days, 3 days. Some people don't respond to WhatsApp messages. Some people don't call back. So some of these basic things, some people cannot express their thoughts either verbally or in a written document, any form. So some of these basics are honestly little non-negotiable for me. I know many people are not that. Communication is a good example. When I say communication, I don't mean fluent English speaking skills. I mean explaining your thoughts in whatever language, Hindi, any regional language, Marathi, whatever you speak, just explain your thoughts. So for me, those basics are extremely important because they ultimately help me decide whether I can spend 8 hours of my day with this person or not. So that is point number one. And this holds true for every single person. Second is the focus on the talent attitude compared to the skill set. Honestly, we have realized skill set can be learned. I'm a software engineer. I'm doing sales. I'm doing business side of things. Harshita is a biosciences and bioengineering grad from IIT Kanpur. She is doing product management. Shivam is a mechanical engineer. He is doing sales. Instrumentation engineer. Dev is a mechanical engineer. He is doing customer success. Raj is a software engineer and doing project delivery. Shreyas is the only one who is a software engineer and who is doing engineering. The 5 of us are from different domains. In our previous company, we had one of the top programmers who was a chemical engineer. So skills can be learned over a period of time with all this chat GPT coming in today. You can type it and say, give me a tutorial for this. You spend a few number of hours, you can learn it. But the attitude, the mindset, the ownership, those kind of those are not skills, and I think those are very important for us. And I learned it from one of the interviews of Mark Zuckerberg, which is still there in the Y Combinator Startup School YouTube channel, where he mentioned that we hire generally smart people. Our approach is not to hire very domain specialists. We hire generally smart people and let them learn the domain context on their own. So we follow a similar approach. We don't look for people who have that domain context, etc. We look for generally smart people. Third, for senior level people, I look for something very important, which is their ability to build a team. So if I'm hiring someone at the director level, the last thing I want is interviewing the candidates who will, the team members within their team. Of course, I will do the final round of interview for cultural fitment, etc. But if I'm hiring a director, I expect them to be able to, have that ability to attract talent and get 4 or 5 people within the team in a few months, so that I don't have to spend that time, or our company doesn't have to spend that time. So those are a few parameters which we look for when we are building a team. There are a bunch of others, but these are again 2, 3 which are important for us.
Aman, the other interesting choice you made with GreyLabs was to raise capital.
Right.
And your previous company was entirely bootstrap.
Right.
Talk to me a little bit on how did you think about this choice?
I think it's a personal choice. The previous company was bootstrapped primarily because, I think that's one of the best ways to build personal wealth. As a first-time founder, you don't want unnecessary constraints, because with more stakeholders coming in, there are some obligations, there are some expectations, there are some constraints. And we were new, we did not have that skill capability to manage stakeholders. So it was a better option to bootstrap. And in fact, when an appropriate opportunity came to our table to sell the business, to exit, you don't have to ask anyone, you don't have to worry about anyone, any expectations, etc. So it was an easy decision for us. Having said that, I don't want that same thing to happen again, because now the wealth is created at a personal level. Harshita and I are financially sorted in life. We don't want to get into a situation where business is going through a tough time and we decide to sell it off and quit. And that's why we are we raised institutional capital, because we know that, number one, there will be people by our side who will support us in the tough times, right? I can approach you, I can approach Pranay during our tough times, which happen with every single venture, every single founder, every single startup. That's point number one. And point number two, with capital, we can aim for much bigger and not. So my vision of building GreyLabs is not to create personal wealth this time, because with Cogno, it was very clear. Once it reaches 5 to 10 crore revenue stage, sell it off, make money, be financially settled in life, because of, we come from small middle class background. But now it's no more about money. It's about building something long lasting, building an institution. That requires the right partner, that requires the right capital, and using capital, we can build the right, get the right talent and build the right team. So that's why we are thinking a much longer term vision. And that's why we went for, raising capital this time.
Let's talk a little bit about AI in banking. Now, outside in, everybody seems to talk about it.
Yeah.
Every CEO has conversation. Every board is talking about it. It's out there in the news. But tell me what's happening on the ground. What are you actually seeing? How much adoption is there? Where is the struggle? Where are the gaps?
See, so as you said, there is a lot of excitement. There is a lot of interest. But honestly, still early days of the technology. The industry is highly regulated. AI models are usually on the cloud, and there is a fear of data security issues, etc. And thirdly, there are no proven use cases of the technology at a mass level. So most of the activity which is happening among the early adopters. Companies where some person is very tech savvy, someone who is willing to take risks, someone at a senior level who is saying, I don't care about anything small here and there going wrong, I'm okay to take that risk. So that is where I think most of the activity is going on. The mass market is still at the POC stage, a pilot stage, an early adoption stage, still exploring. And most of the top companies who are the leaders, who are early adopters, they are setting up examples, they are setting up proven use cases and case study, and the other ones are the mainstream people are copying that. So if we work with a bank and we implement speech analytics, then the others are saying, fine, you have done it for them, why don't you do it for us? Or there are, fintechs who are setting up examples for banks. because fintechs, of course, are more tech forward, more faster to adopt technology. So banks are then borrowing ideas from there. So that's what we are seeing at the ground level. I think over the next maybe 12 to 18 months, we will see some massive use cases. With voice AI agents coming in, the impact will be multifold. Currently, the use cases of AI are small and incremental, increasing efficiency of 20%, 30%. Honestly, for the functional head, a 20-30% efficiency is important. But at the board level, at the CEO level, they don't care, because the cost of the function is in itself 20%. And then you are doing a 20% improvement on efficiency in that function. It's 3-4% increase for them, which is not material at the board CXO level. But with voice AI agents coming in, which we are building, we feel there will be a massive impact. So, like, we are talking to a fintech firm. They don't have a call center for telesales because they are fully app driven. They are fully digital, and they have a servicing call center. But now they are thinking, can we expand our customer acquisition by implementing voice AI based calling for customers who drop off? So think of it where we all look at voice AI agents saying that it will replace a telecaller. Here a customer has found a use case of voice AI agent where telecaller does not exist. So massive market is going to unlock there. And it will impact the acquisition funnel, which is important for the board, which is important for the CEO. So in next 12 to 18 months, some of these things are coming and happening in the industry, and it's for real. We are the ones who are doing these pilots and POCs, early pilots with some of these customers. And I'm sure if we do 10 pilots, some of them will work out, and that will be an example for the rest of the industry. So I think big opportunity lying ahead, although we are still in the early days now.
No, makes sense. And the other thing which has always struck me is, of course, we are a product company. We have a bunch of ready to go things, but there's an equal emphasis on very loosely put delivery.
Yes.
And to actually making it work. And if that means some element of servicing, some element of customization, some amount of working with the customer and backwards figuring out the use cases, I think we do that very well.
Yes.
Is that a very conscious choice? And especially given this landscape, how has that really impacted our ability to deliver value?
So Vas, I think it's a conscious choice, because see, our customers are very wealthy institutions. They have money, they don't have time. They don't have time to spend in hiring engineers, in hiring product managers. They do hire product managers, but technical product managers, etc. When they buy from us, they want an end-to-end solution. They don't just want APIs and technology, which ultimately the onus of integrating is on them. It's a large institution. There is a business team, IT team, InfoSec, information security, legal, compliance, procurement, finance, data analytics. So there are 7-8 buyers in the institution. The last thing you want is put a dependency on them. The whole deal will go for a toss. So that is why, to drive our implementation funnel, the sales funnel, making sure that whatever we have, so our product is, let's say, 90% ready, but the 10% part of stitching our product with the systems of the enterprise, we do it for them rather than putting a dependency on the enterprise. So I tell my customers that we are not in the business of Maruti Suzuki. Maruti Suzuki is a very big company. They sell cars. Airbus is a very big company. They sell aeroplanes. But selling cars and selling aeroplanes is very different. When Airbus sells an aeroplane for an airline, they customize the seats, they customize everything. They take a large ticket size. They take they charge a lot, and there is a backlog of orders, etc., etc. But car you can drive. You go to a showroom, you like it, you can just drive. You pay a registration charge and all those things. In 2-3 days, the car is ready. Aeroplanes, it doesn't work like that. So we have consciously, both companies are big, both are making money, but we are taking the aeroplane route rather than the car route. It's that simple.
That makes sense. And that comes across in customer conversation and the value that they see in working with us versus saying here is something off the shelf and hopefully it works.
Correct. I mean, like, Indigo Airlines cannot buy a Airbus by swiping a credit card and saying ki cash on delivery or something like that, right? It's an enterprise business. You have a backlog of order. They look at 10 years ahead. They put up orders. They look at the roadmap of Airbus and some critical parameters, fuel efficiency. So mileage may not be important for you and me. A mileage of 7 versus 9 is immaterial for me because my driving is not that much on a monthly basis. But when you are an enterprise buying aeroplanes, every percentage points of fuel efficiency is important for you. The service, the reliability, all those things are important. So that's why we have tailored the business as per, let's say, Airbus compared to a Maruti Suzuki or a Hyundai. That's a difference in nature of business. And once you figure out that this is what my customer wants, It becomes very easy. So we figured out that more than product, technology, our customers want reliability. I was talking to a very large fintech. Everybody is wanting to make them their customer. And I was talking to their leadership person who is the VP of customer experience. He said, Aman, we saw demos of more than 50 service providers who offer similar service as yours. Yours was the one who was most convincing to us that it is meant for us. It's meant for a financial institution. He said in the first conversation, you and your co-founder were talking about data security. Not a single other vendor talked to us about that. And we care about that because we are a fintech. RBI will come behind us in a big way if we make a small mistake in this area. And we want partners who understand that, who empathize with that. He did not talk about a better AI or better technology or better LLM. His entire focus was on data security. So small things which are, I give examples to my team. Lamborghini is the most fancy car. Every young kid aspires to buy a Lamborghini. But imagine buying a low ground clearance Lamborghini and driving it on Mumbai roads with speed breakers. It won't work. That's why they have Lamborghini Urus, which is a higher ground clearance, and it sells like crazy. But imagine if that car was not there and you have a choice between a Hyundai Maruti Suzuki versus a low ground clearance Lamborghini, and imagine you have 100 crore rupees. You still can't buy that car because it's useless for you. It might be fancy, it may have the best engine, it may have the best design, it may have the best experience, but then Indian roads are not meant for that. Same for an enterprise. There is already a road on which the enterprise is driving, which is the organizational systems, procedures. You have to make sure your car which you are selling to the enterprise is able to drive on that road. For that, you need to make the car as per the road. If required, you need to customize the car as per the road, as per the traffic signals, as per speed regulations, etc. That's what we are saying.
Paint the picture for me. Like, you have achieved a fair bit at such a young age. What feels like a big achievement in the next 5-10 years, both for you personally and for GreyLabs as a company? Paint that picture for me.
See, I think if we are able to build something which creates really, truly delightful experience for the end consumer, not the bank, the end consumer, at scale across the country, that will be a large impact. When I say experience, let me explain. Imagine being born in a very small town in some state of the country, not being very fluent to be able to use mobile banking, net banking, not being a wealthy enough customer for the bank to care about offering you a good quality service. Imagine still getting service because GreyLabs was able to build that technology in your language, who can understand your agony, who can understand your pain when you are approaching the bank for a transaction issue or for some redundant charges that were levied on you and getting that resolved. Imagine being able to do it for 140 crore Indians at scale. I think that would be truly where we are supporting in nation building, rather than just having a commercial intent. As I told you, honestly, financially, I am well sorted in life. More money doesn't help me because wherever I'm staying, I'm happy with that area. I don't want to buy a bigger house or a bigger car and so on and so forth. So it's not about money. It's not about financial rewards anymore. It's about building something which truly creates an impact, truly builds something for Indian consumer at scale. So, and I think you asked for GreyLabs and for Aman, I think this will be a rewarding experience for everyone. If we are able to, realize this vision, it will be a wealth creator for our investors, for our team members. It will be a wealth creator for our customers, and it will be a wealth creator for the nation. It will truly impact everyone. Money will happen as a byproduct.
So India scale financial services voice,
Yes.
That feels...
Yes, very well summarized.
No, this is very, very neat. And, at Elevation, we talk about how technology in financial services can both improve access and improve experience. This is beautiful because now suddenly you can do this at scale for a lot of people at very low cost.
Correct.
And also really increase the experience delta, right? No wait times, quick negotiation, quick workflows. It's
correct.
I don't see a universe in which 4 or 5 years out, this is not the norm. And hopefully
100%.
we are building it.
100%. In fact, for an enterprise, you don't have to set up heavy, expensive, operationally heavy call centers. You don't have to worry about audit teams. You don't have to put a supervisor. You don't have to worry about quality teams, learning and development team, etc. Most importantly, you don't have to worry about any fraud, any kind of mis-selling, any kind of regulatory escalation, because AI can operate in a very controlled environment and it will not do anything unintended, any surprises that won't happen. So for a business head, you reduce the escalations.
Thank you, Aman. This was a great conversation. Enjoyed it like all our conversations. And hopefully in a few years, we're back again talking about how this is reaching a few crore people.
Honestly, I mean, the honor is mine. Really enjoyed the conversation and looking forward to, the fulfilling the vision together.
Thank you.